Welcome back to the Eric Krown crypto channel, wishing you a happy early start to this Saturday morning here as we prepare to look at something a little bit different. We're going to be talking about the topic of Bitcoin and Bitcoin dominance, and Bitcoin very likely will be dominant. But whenever we speak about Bitcoin dominance, I do want to once again remind you that Bitcoin dominance is speaking about the altcoin versus Bitcoin valuation, not necessarily the altcoin versus US dollar valuation. So it could very well be that altcoin USD goes up while Bitcoin dominance also goes up simultaneously, and vice versa as well. Anyways, we'll be discussing that, of course, in this video, and then go over a little bit of Ethereum Bitcoin as well. So other than that, I should once again let you know that the buyback promotion is still going on. They got 0% on maker fees for derivative contract orders. Plus, you can even get the Jewel Light for free for the first 30 days if you follow the directions in the link in the description below. And then because Bybit is going KYC relatively soon, I know a lot of people are looking for a new exchange, and they basically have a decentralized exchange arm called Apex, which I have an affiliate link in the description below as well, which will award you 5% off your fees for the lifetime of your account. Anyways, let's see. Let's start off right on over here with the 5-day look on Bitcoin dominance. So again, when we're talking about Bitcoin dominance, we're looking at altcoin versus Bitcoin valuation, not altcoin versus US dollar valuation. Well, I'm not making any comment on that. Basically, whatever Bitcoin does, whether it goes up or down versus USD, that's very likely where most altcoins will go. And also, I should preface this conversation by saying not all altcoins are going to be following this. There's certainly going to be some that are just going to do their own thing, and I'm sure it's definitely yours that you're listing in the comment section. So just kidding. But seriously, yeah, it is. You picked the right one. Anyways, starting off on the 5-day right here. A few things of interest. First and foremost, Bitcoin dominance, brushing up against that 200 simple moving average right here. Also just kind of a technical breakout level as well. Basically at about 48.5%, let's say, is where I'd kind of put the line, both on the 5-day and the weekly, which are actually closing simultaneously tomorrow night. Anyways, within the context of that, 5-day time frame is suggesting that there is hidden bullish divergence right at resistance, which typically is a good sign that you are going to break out complete the breakout in this case. And even the 5-day Jewel, looks like it's going to swing around for potentially another long signal as well. But that one's kind of neither here nor there just yet. Anyways, I do want to also give a little bit of notice to the weekly Gaussian channel here, because it literally just turned green, or will just turn green as of this week's closure. So assuming that it closes basically anywhere above 48.5%, you're going to see a technical breakout plus hidden bullish evidence plus weekly Gaussian channel turning green right here, as you can see, which again likely does imply that we will see this one actually complete the full-on breakout and lead into a higher term time frame breakout. In this case, it should also be known that the monthly Jewel is still giving its upside curvature right here based off the signal that we did get from early January, where essentially it was saying, hey, the lows are in and it's time to be looking for major massive upside. And well, that's kind of where we're at right now. So as far as that goes, we should also be aware that there is a bit of a pattern going on right here. Now, I'm not a big pattern guy myself, but in this case, I mean, it's a pretty obvious trading range, right? Between about 48.5% to the upside versus the lows at about 39.5% to the downside. In this case, you could say that this is a W formation right here. And more importantly with that, we could make some projections based upon that, as that would have an implied move based upon the completion of this pattern, which would be, in this case, above about 49% if you want to go by the book. And in that event, well, we could look at the measure move right here as be getting continuation on the breakout. Who knows how long it takes? I don't fucking know, but somewhere around about 58%, a little bit more than 58%, which is rather interesting as well, because that does line up pretty damn on point with the 618 fib right here too. So somewhere around 58%, maybe 59%, and then I'd be expecting a macro consolidation yet again. Could it launch higher over time? Yes. Could it be a major reversal and come all the way back down? Yes. But basically, I'd be looking for that move to complete first, and then judge the next leg to see if there's going to be more upside or not. Anyways, also, should I speak about this over here? Why not? Yeah, the weekly HPDR actually to give a bit of an early notice of a bit, of a breakout going on right here. It's actually gonna have a chance to do the next one as well, as it trades into the 80% of historic returns range, which will complete again by tomorrow with any sort of a closure, basically about 48% in this case. And that kind of opens up the highway to somewhere around, 50, 52, it looks like, in the more near term. So we'd be looking for that maybe like early May, if you will, maybe early May. Again, assuming that, we do see it close above this level tomorrow. Anyways, now moving into Ethereum Bitcoin, as I know a lot of people are very interested with this. And, typically most altcoins are going to follow the Ethereum Bitcoin chart. So let me just bring it up right here. And let's pop it into there we go. Let's just pop it up. And as you can see, starting off with the 5-day, we can see that there was hidden bearish divergence on that last little local high coming off right here. Now it's not super helpful to be speaking about it as of this moment, but it does imply that we probably do see a retest of the lows from March, which would be somewhere around like 6.2 million Satoshis. That's a very interesting place because it's a very precarious place, meaning that if Bitcoin starts to actually trade below, especially this 11th of April low right here, which is basically 6.2 million Satoshis, we can expect this one to fall much, much further, probably somewhere down around the July of 2022 lows right here, where it was trading in the mid 5 million Satoshis region. Anyways, if we go ahead and reference stochastic momentum on the monthly, we can see that the monthly is still remaining with its downside pressure. In fact, it's about to complete a head and shoulders on the monthly stochastic oscillator. Not something, again, I'm not a big pattern guy myself, but we actually do see these work out quite often on oscillators, actually more so on oscillators than on price action itself, which is rather interesting. But in this case, assuming that the monthly, which closes in like a few days here, is anywhere below 0.074, so about 7.4 million Satoshis, that will remain with its downside momentum. It'll be officially kicked out of the bullish control zone, and that would be another advanced warning of much more downside to come in this case, with major downside pressure on all higher term timeframes. This does not mean that lower term timeframes can't rally. I'm sure they will. There's going to be bounces here and there, obviously, but generally speaking, on the very, very high term timeframes, the direction is starting to get set in. The bi-monthly chart, which will also, I believe, it'll also close in a couple days here, will remain with downside momentum if Ethereum Bitcoin closes below 6.3 million Satoshis. So that's actually a very, very important caveat right here, because if it does complete the hidden bearish evidence on the 5-day before that happens, so in the next 2-day span here, then that condition will be met, and you're going to have downside pressure from the bi-monthly basically as well. And I do think that it is a bit of a formality, to be honest with you, simply because the quarterly chart, the 3-month chart, which really doesn't have enough history here, to be honest, but for the history that we do have, it is about to reject the bullish control zone and cross to the downside with any sort of a closure below 7.5 million Satoshi. So you got the monthly and quarterly working together. Is the bi-monthly kind of like a foregone conclusion, or is it the last chance for love? Well, I would say below 6.33 million, obviously that's just not going to be relevant. I mean, they're all going to be down. But I'd say, seeing as it's the odd man out, it's most likely to see all of these turn down, and we do see this correction or reversal, if you want to call it that, continue throughout summer, most likely. Anyways, now that we've gotten through that, weekly over here. I mean, you're just kind of seeing like a little bit of a weekly breakdown. We can see a weekly silver cross to the downside emerging as of last week on extreme lows for volatility. So I don't really have any, I don't really have any particular setup right here based upon that, or at least nothing that's kind of staring me in the eye. But ultimately, that would suggest that we are going to be looking at a pretty sizable move, over this next few month period, this next like 2 to 3 month period, I would say. This is the lowest that volatility's been for this long on the weekly time frame. So a rather high time frame for an asset like this, which hasn't been around, or has only been around for like 7-8 years now. So yeah, we're looking at extremes here. We're looking at extremes, if you will. Anyways, moving on from there, what else can I say about this? Basically bearish as long as you're below 7 million Satoshis. Above 7 million Satoshis is where I have to say that this becomes invalidated, and we can once again look for a return to the highs of this multi-year consolidation going back to June of 2021. So that would be, back around like 8 to 8.5 million Satoshis. But as you know, again, as long as Ethereum Bitcoin is below 7 million Satoshis, downside is just significantly more likely. And I would be looking for this one to trade much lower, throughout the summer here, probably finding its next weekly bounce somewhere in the mid, maybe even low 5 million Satoshis. And, long term, do I really want to piss some people off right here? I don't know if I necessarily want to do this right now, but, where could we potentially be looking at, this coming down to? Well, I'll just leave the fib retracement there for right now, and I won't make any comment on that, as I'm not trying to incite violence against myself, as I do know that people can get rather protective of their very highly esteemed altcoins, which, to be fair, I mean, Ethereum is, if there's any altcoin that's legit, it's probably Ethereum. And look, I'm not like a full-on maxi in the sense that like I think everything besides Bitcoin is garbage. I just think probably 98% of other things are probably garbage, and I don't really know what they are, to be honest with you. So again, it's definitely your altcoin that you're going to be commenting in the description below. I'm sure it's the best one. I'm sure it's the next Bitcoin. I'm sure it's the future of finance or the future of France or whatever the fuck it could possibly be. It's bigger than we can ever even imagine. But yeah, long term, this does seem to be a multi-year trading range here going back to 2018, and we just kind of tested the highs. And what happens after you test the highs? Typically you come down and test the lows. So maybe we get ready for that a little bit later this year. Now, personally speaking, I do think that this likely comes alongside a Bitcoin rally. So you're probably going to see most altcoins either hold their US dollar valuation or rally versus their US dollar valuation, just maybe not as much as Bitcoin. And yeah, that's kind of what we're leading into for the rest of the year. I mean, this is mostly a continuation of the long-term analysis that we've been having on this one, especially on Bitcoin DOM. It just takes a long time, obviously. But yeah, in this case, probably sometime like May, June, maybe we see 53.5%. And then from there, 58% on Bitcoin dominance, and then we'll come back to it after that, I suppose. Anyways, I think that's a good place for me to be leaving off on this particular video. And as always, I want to wish you the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully tomorrow.